Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our reading through the Tanak class, the 5th of February 2025. Okay, and the topic inside the room is we're going to be revisiting a subject that we was dealing with. I got videos on it, sending blacks back to Africa, and how that's played out since we talked about it about 5-10 years ago. Okay. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah, Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior, by our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, shalom and welcome to the channel. Welcome to our reading through the Tanakh. Okay, our hours of operation for this channel is Monday and Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Then we have a men's advanced Bible study on Friday nights at 7 to 9 Central Time. Then we have 2 Shabbat classes, 1 in the morning, 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat in the evening for about an hour. It's at 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. Then we have our advanced Bible study on Sundays. It's at 5 p.m. in Central Time. So if you want to come in and listen in or engage, well, feel free to do so. Okay. Like I said, shalom and welcome to the channel and welcome to our reading through the Tanakh. We're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, psalms, current events. We have some need to know information. Then we'll open it up for anybody with any questions or comments or dialogue. And then we'll go into our topic, which is sending blacks back to America. That's a video that I've done, like I said, over 10 years ago, maybe. Okay. With that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, I pray unto the Lord, my God, and we make our confessions. The great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love Thee and to them that keep Thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto Thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, and through all the countries where Thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against Thee. Okay, O Lord, hear this prayer and cause Thy face to shine upon Thy sanctuary and Thy people for Your sake. O Lord, open Your eyes and incline Your ears to hear, and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive, and hearken and do, and defer not, for Thy own sake, for Thy people and Your land need You desperately at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay, before we get started, apologize for yesterday. We had a little cable situation down here in our town. They was doing something with the cable. I think they didn't bring it back on until the day around noon. So that's the reason we didn't have no class last night. So anyway, we're gonna get started with some with a prayer. With a psalms right quick. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalm 75. It's a warning to the wicked. Okay. It's a song by Asaph. Unto Thee, O God, we give thanks. Unto Thee do we give thanks, for that Thy name is near, Thy wondrous works declare. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Selah, I say it unto fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up thy horn. Lift not up your horn on high, and speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and it poureth out the same. But the dread thereof and all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, and I will sing praises unto the God of Jacob. And the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. Okay. So anybody have any comments on that? Bring it down. Okay. So let's look at that because there's a lot going on with this psalm right here. It says uh, in verse 4, it says, this Asaph talking says, I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up thy horn. So an example of what he's saying by lift not up their horn is that the king. But an example is, like I said, when the Syrians came to the wall during the time of Hezekiah, and when he came there, he started lifting up his king, the king of Assyria, telling them about all the things the king of Assyria had did, how he had conquered all the nations before they got to Israel, and that they're gonna wake up in the morning, they're gonna conquer this place, and asking them, telling them that they God can't defend them because of the king of Assyria is greater than their God and all that. That's what he mean by lifting up a horn. So Nebuchadnezzar was a horn. Cyrus, all those horns, and David is our horn. So it says, verse 5, lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck, right? They did the same thing with the Pharaoh, right? For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. So here we go right here. It says, you know, if you got a king and he ruling, that promotion didn't come from the east or the west, but 7, it says, but from God, from Michael, Lord of hosts, the God but God is the judge. Michael is the judge, and he put it down one and set it up another. So why you saying Michael is the judge? Because it tells you his role. You understand his role is he's over all the nations. He's over most highest, over heaven, which is the most highest angels. He's the Lord host over them and over all the armies on earth. So if you got a king with an army, Michael was the one brought it, lifted it up, lifted the horn up. And then just like he lifted it up, we're going to bring it down. So it says 7, but God is the judge, Michael. He put it down one, set it up another. Then 8, for in the hand of the Lord, in the hand of Michael, Lord of hosts, there is a cup. That's where they get this from in Revelation. And the wine is red, and it is full of a mixture, and he poureth it out of the same. But the dread thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob, to the Lord of hosts. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. So our example of that last verse, chapter 10, he said the horns of the righteous, which is Israelites, right? Go to Psalms 132, right? You'll see exactly what he's talking about. Go to Psalms 132 and last 3 verses. The Lord of hosts said, I will also clothe her priests with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud for joy. There will I make the horn of David, that to bud. I ordain a lamp for my anointing. His enemies will I clothe with shame, but upon him shall his crown flourish. So we see right here exactly what Asaph is talking about. In the latter days, the Lord of hosts is going to exalt the horn of the righteous, which is none other than David. David is the horn of the righteous. Okay. Any comments or questions? Okay, everybody good on that? Okay, we go to some current events.
You can put a real estate mogul in the White House, but you cannot take real estate out of him. President Donald Trump has proven that. Yesterday, he hosted the Prime Minister of Israel, his best buddy, Benjamin Netanyahu. After the talks, both men addressed the press, and Trump unveiled his plan for Gaza, a classic realtor's tactic. Remove the people, demolish what remains, and rebuild the whole place.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house no matter what condition it's in. If you need to sell your house for any reason, click the button under this video to see if my offer is right for you. We make the process of selling your house easy and simple. No commissions, no fees. We'll buy your house in as-is condition, and you pick the closing date. No appraisals, no repairs, no hassles. All offers are completely confidential, and there is no
Level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different.
This is unprecedented stuff. Trump wants the US to take over the Gaza Strip. He wants to raze all the buildings, dismantle the explosives, and create new housing societies. There are two obvious problems with the plan. One, Gaza is Palestinian land. It does not belong to the United States or Donald Trump. And two, Gaza is not empty either. 2 million Palestinians live in Gaza. What will happen to them? President Trump seems least bothered about that. He suggested that neighboring Arab countries will host them, countries like Jordan and Egypt. I know this sounds absurd and imperialist already, but it gets worse. Trump gave a long explanation for why this plan is necessary. Not strategic convenience, not humanitarian concerns. Trump says Gaza is unlucky.
I also strongly believe that the Gaza Strip, which has been a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades and so bad for the people anywhere near it, and especially those who live there, and frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time.
That's the realtor speaking again. But do not worry. Gaza is only unlucky for Palestinians. For everybody else, it's perfect beachfront property. That's what Trump is pitching here. He wants to turn Gaza into the Riviera of West Asia. Listen to this.
And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent.
Trump says he has pitched this plan to West Asian leaders and he says they love it. But we're not so sure. Arab leaders have already rejected this plan. They say Gazans should not be pushed out. In fact, Jordan has gone one step ahead. They are ready for war to prevent the displacement of Gazans, because Jordan would be the worst affected. Around 3 million Palestinians already live in Jordan. The kingdom cannot host more. So the Arab position is pretty clear. Don't even think about it. Even America's Western allies have rejected the plan. France, Germany, Spain, all of them have opposed it. They say Gazans must stay in Gaza. China and Russia are also on the same page. Moscow called it the cancellation of Palestine, and China said it opposes forced relocation. Which makes you wonder, is anyone supporting Trump's plan? The answer is yes, Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu looked quite happy, maybe even surprised by what he heard. At best, he was hoping for political support from President Trump, but what he got was permission to wipe out Gaza, to kick out all the Palestinians.
President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so many attacks against us, so many trials and so many tribulations. He has a different idea. And I think it's worth paying attention to this.
Well, this is a bonus for Netanyahu. His political future was hanging in the balance. His recent truce deal was not acceptable to his allies at home. Plus, his war goals were unmet. You see, Hamas is still calling the shots in Gaza, so Netanyahu's war was being called pointless and genocidal. But Donald Trump has thrown him a lifeline. His far-right allies love this Riviera plan. If enacted, it would end all hopes for a Palestinian state. But here's the crazy idea. Ask the Palestinians. For Israel, Gaza may be a piece of land. For Trump, it may be beachfront property. But for Gazans, it is their homeland. And they do not plan to leave it.
We are staying steadfast in our land here. Who wants to rebuild should not kick us out under the pretext of rebuilding. You helped Israel in the first place in this destruction that we can see here.
Why are you not investing in tax breaks?
Cool.
No, seriously. Why are you?
How can a Palestinian who holds the Palestinian nationality and whose all ancestors died on this soil go to Egypt, Jordan, or any other country? These are rejected statements, and it will not pass on the Palestinian people. This president, who is called Donald Trump, comes to us with a new method to displace us from our country where we are rooted. This is our land. We will not get out of it.
So nobody likes this plan. Not the Palestinians, not the Arabs, not the Europeans, not the Russians or the Chinese. Only Donald Trump likes it. And how will this proposal affect the region? What does it mean for West Asia? Let's look at the three possible impacts it could have. Number one, a setback to the Gaza ceasefire deal. The second stage of talks are slated to begin soon, but Trump's comments will undermine it because any deal is built on trust. Why would Hamas negotiate if the plan is to relocate Gazans, to turn Gaza into some resort town? So Trump's proposal endangers the existing truce. That's impact number one. Impact number two, a setback on Arab-Israel normalization. Saudi Arabia has made its position clear today: no Palestinian state, no normalization. In fact, let me quote from their statement. His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, emphasized that Saudi Arabia will continue its relentless efforts to establish an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital and will not establish diplomatic relations with Israel without that. So Israel cannot have it both ways, which brings us to impact number three. The pretense is gone. The US was never serious about a two-state solution. They just want a strong and thriving Israel. Other presidents sugarcoated this position. Donald Trump is just being blunt about it. Because this plan is a death blow to Palestinian statehood. It is textbook ethnic cleansing. If Trump gets his way, it would weaken the global system further. It would erode concepts of sovereignty and territorial integrity. Because this is geopolitics. We deal with countries and people here, not properties and tenants.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom, everyone. When the war first broke out, that was some of the things that they were talking about, making that beachfront property in Gaza. Shalom.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, when you think about that, they had that's what it came out when all that first started, when they first started bombing those people, was that they had found out Israel had already had plans to run those people out and build a beachfront resort. That was the thing from the jump street. And now they came all the way around and back to this with Trump and come on the scene, and he just come out and say they're gonna turn it into beachfront property, which is crazy. It's like just all the atrocities and everything that can happen. Then he comes and this is how he go. This is his take on how to fix that, which is crazy. It's ludicrous. But like I said, you got to remember what these people's objective is. They want to rule the world from Jerusalem for 1,000 years and it got those red heifers. And those red heifers is almost past their time to be sacrificed. So we can see all that coming into play. And this right here, what we're talking about right here, is going to tie into what I'll be talking about for the topic for discussion, which I'll be going back to what Pastor Manning said, for the people that know who that is. If you don't know him, you're going to know who he is in a minute when I play. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he comes up with, and when you think about it, that's the same thing he did in New Orleans. Because I was down there for, I think, 18 months after it happened, working. And they had the local people, they was talking, and you go around the right people and hear the right things. They was talking about how that night when it all happened, it was an explosion. They actually blew up the levee and brought the water in intentionally because they wanted to relocate those people. Because just like this right here, they got some kind of big time resort they got in mind. The same thing with Jamaica. Same thing with the Bahamas. They got big plans for, well, just make America great again. It's just that they don't need us no more. They didn't use us to get it where it's at. Now they want to make all this, make it luxurious for them. They want us out of here. They're going, and so this, like I was saying before, the plan that we see is this the end game, but this plan started a long time ago. We're gonna talk about it, and when we get to the class. Anybody else got anything on that?
Shalom. I'm just going back on how Trump wants to do what he's doing. And last that I've heard him wanting to buy Greenland, when he was talking about that, he thinking that he is what we know he's not, like a king, and he wants to just buy.
Here's my neighborhood tip.
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
I just wanted to put that in there, like with the Panama Canal and with Greenland, in trying to change the Mexico, they want to say Mexico of America, America of Mexico, something. I can't remember exactly how it went. All these things that he's doing is trying to, it's still, to me, it's saying a lot, and people are drawn to that, and he's doing something else. It's
Right.
something going to pop up that no one's going to see coming. And he figures, throw the glitter in the air, everybody's watching it, and he's behind the scenes wanting this third war to come about faster than
Exactly.
it may happen. Shalom, that's it.
Okay. Is that something?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Anybody?
sir.
Anybody else? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, got another one right here. I'll play it.
Today was very interesting. Look at this. Today was a day without immigrants. There were protests all over the country, including Los Angeles and Seattle, in New York, and everywhere else in between. What I'm here to tell you is that we are now seeing a very different tone and a change, not just from the current administration, but from the American people as well. I want to read a few things to you. Look at this. It says, protesters have gathered in Southern California for the second straight day as a nationwide Day Without Immigrants movement got underway. Dozens of people waved mostly Mexican flags and some American flags while carrying pro-immigration signs gathered at City Hall in downtown Los Angeles before starting their march. Now, this was, well, it was very disruptive. I want to show this to you. Again, like I'm all for, everyone showing their, showing up, Day Without Immigrants. It was big, okay? This was big. This was much bigger than what we saw, the Day Without Immigrants was 2015, I believe, okay? But it says several businesses were said to be supporting a day without immigrants movement, closing their doors and giving employees paid time off. Here's what you need to understand though. Some of these businesses were not necessarily in support of this by closing. The reason why they were closing is because they had no other choice. They didn't have workers to actually fill in. Again, a huge, huge problem. But this is what I've been saying for some time. If we do not have certain immigrants doing some of these jobs, then who's going to do them? Okay, especially when it comes to any type of agricultural work. The majority of the agricultural workers are Hispanic. They're coming in from Mexico and South America, many of which come in at the same time every single year, do their harvest, send the money back down to Mexico, and then when their harvest is done, they leave. Okay, they go back to Mexico and come back up the following year. Okay, I want to show this to you. Look at this right here. It says, businesses close, children skip school for a day without immigrants protest. Many people didn't go to work. Many kids didn't go to schools. I remember I talked to my son just a little bit ago. He said the school was pretty empty. A lot of people were missing. I said, yeah, there was a reason for it. They didn't want to go to school, and because they were going to go and protest and let their voices be heard. Okay, but look at this. I want to show you this one as well. It says restaurants in multiple cities closing for one day to mark a day without immigrants. Again, not just restaurants. Okay, we know car dealerships were closed. Restaurants, same thing. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. He was saying he couldn't get his room cleaned at his hotel. He couldn't get it cleaned because there was nobody there to clean it. Something simple, something very easy, couldn't be done. Right? Towels. Sorry, we're out of clean towels. We don't have our maids here this week. Right? This week. Not today, this week. But listen to this comment. This was a comment that was left on someone else's channel. I want to read it to you because when I was reading this, I thought this was interesting. This person said, and I quote, I voted for Trump because I thought we needed to get our country back. We can't have millions of illegal immigrants roaming around doing whatever they want. But there must be some middle ground. I didn't think like this until just today. Here's why. I went to get my oil changed in my car. And it was closed. I went to another place and there was a 4-car wait, so I left. I then took my wife out to eat for lunch and was told they were only seating half the regular tables. And when we ordered, it took 45 minutes for our food to come out. And then, to make matters even worse, my daughter's car slid off the road on her way to work, and we can't get a tow truck out there until tomorrow because they're off today. I never realized how much my life would be impacted if immigrants weren't here. So again, I bring this up because I'm not trying to give you, tell you how to feel, how to think, right? Everyone's free to think any way they want to. But here's the thing. There are certain things in our everyday lives that they're tasks that immigrants do. Whether it's something as simple as operating a tow truck. Now, when I say simple, I'm not saying that's an easy job or whatever, but I've never done it. But it's something. What do you do? Did you call somebody on the phone and it just wasn't working? Right? So you tried to get maintenance out to come fix it? Sorry, we can't do it today. Don't have any work.
Anybody hear anything about that? These mass protests they had about a day without immigrants?
Yes, sir.
Shalom, I haven't heard of it.
Okay. So what you think about it?
Shalom. It holds
Shalom,
the
I'm
fact.
thinking that it needs to be all over, not just in one place, if they're gonna do it, and more light needs to shine on it. But if not, it's gonna be swept underneath the rug. If they're trying to protest about being deported and immigrants, they have people that's been grandparents and people have lived here all their lives as undocumented children, people. Now they're grown, they have children of their own. And to deport them, and at first they were saying all drug addicts, all gang members, people who kill people, who do things, the criminals. And how can they depict who's the criminal if they haven't put them into jail? So all these people, it's just a lot. Shalom.
Okay. You had something, George?
Shalom. I was just going to say that the migrants are a valuable part of the workforce, and now they're seeing it. Even though they want them to leave, they're seeing that what they took for granted is now, having a big payback to business owners who employed them, and now they have this consequence of not having them now, and it's causing this big ruckus.
Right,
Shalom.
exactly. Right. Anybody else got any comments on that? Okay, everybody good? Okay, we got some need to know information right here. Play this.
In the next weeks and months, as this bombshell has its effects across the world. Of course, we'll pretend that didn't happen. Mr. Trump says it's a wake-up call. Yeah, it sure is. And you've been asleep in a lot of ways if you haven't been able to see all of this coming. I want to talk to you today about DeepSeek, an obscure, small Chinese startup in the technology.
Have anybody heard about that? DeepSeek?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Technology field that has shaken literally the whole world, starting with the collapse of this week in the stock market here in New York, as one sign of what this little company has been able to achieve. This is another milestone in the decline of the American capitalist system relative to its number one competitor. It's always been true in human history that you can delay technical change, but you can never stop it. The newcomers borrow, steal, buy the old technology from those who went before and quickly understand the gains to be made from taking it further. The Chinese are shifting from specialists in copying technology from the West to becoming the pioneer who develops it and begins to have to worry about who will copy them. It's a small company. It started in May of 2023. That's not very long ago, a little over a year and a half. It was started by an individual Chinese entrepreneur, a small company, like many, many startups in China, because it is a society and an economy which stimulates, supports, finances, encourages startup new companies. His name is Liang Wenfeng, and he followed a directive from the very top of Chinese society that they want to be independent of the United States, which is hardly surprising given the hostility of the United States to them. They wanted to be independent of the chip industry in the United States, partly because it was more advanced than the Chinese. It isn't so much anymore. And because the United States government was blocking, banning export of chips and chip-making machinery to China, thereby trying, not successfully, to hold back Chinese economic and particularly technical development. Long story short, using way less money, a tiny fraction of what the money has been in this country devoted to artificial intelligence and the chips that make it possible, for much, much less money, they produced a product, an AI product, as good in some ways, better in other ways, than what was coming out of the huge monopoly immediately acknowledged. In Britain, one of the most common jokes you can hear is that when the United States tells Britain to jump, the response of Britain is, how high? It's a question. China has overtaken the United States in dozens of fields, particularly the highest tech ones. Young people around you are using TikTok. That's Chinese as a social media. What's going on? The United States doesn't know what to do. Having not learned the lessons, having not understood what denial means, for a long time, they denied. Because to see the rise of China is to take a step in the direction that might make you confront what's happening to you. And that's it.
Okay, so we had I think it was over the weekend, maybe might have been Friday, that we talked about that, you know, they all week before they had all this stuff about open AI. They had all these big time tech billionaires in the White House, and they introduced this open AI to the world, and then right behind them, China came out with their DeepSeek, and they shut down the internet for a lot cheaper than what they money they spent for open AI. And now the stock market is crashing behind this Chinese technology. So like the guy was just saying, you got to brace yourself for it, because these people are they ignorant, and then they in denial, and they think that they believe that white supremacy thing, and they have no basis to it. Because when you look back in history, you can see who the intellectual people were. It wasn't them, but for some reason they believe that they are superior than all other humans on Earth. And there's no way that the Chinese could, have more technical skills, AI skills than them. But they just got shut down when China came out with this DeepSeek. Any comments? No comments? Okay. We'll open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything you want to talk about? Something they came across? Want to chop it up? Okay, yeah, while we right here, somebody want to pick out a scripture at the end of the class. Somebody want to volunteer on that?
Yes, sir. Shalom, I will.
Okay, so no questions, no comments. Okay, let me play this right here, then we'll go into the topic. Okay, here we go. It's kind of bouncing off of those other videos we watched last week.
Dark clouds loomed over the
pertaining to the fallen angels.
Mountain peaks as the wind howled through the desolate valley below. The air was thick with a weight unseen, a sorrow that clung to the earth itself. The Watchers, once celestial beings of radiance and light, now stood on the edges of their own doom. Their wings, once shimmering with the glow of heaven, were dulled, their garments heavy with the filth of the earth. They had pleaded, wept, and screamed to the heavens, but the decree had been passed. They would never ascend again. Until eternity, they would be bound in the chains of the world they had chosen over their own. Beneath the weight of divine judgment, a group of celestial beings, once radiant, now cloaked in the darkness of their fall, knelt in trembling despair. They were the Watchers, the children of heaven, who had forsaken their celestial abode for the allure of mortal women. They had taught men forbidden secrets, shared wisdom not meant for human minds, and in their pride sought to overturn the balance between heaven and earth. Enoch, the righteous man, the scribe of judgment, stood before them, his heart trembling at their fate. He had seen what no mortal had seen. In a vision, the heavens had been unveiled before him. He had been lifted beyond the veils of the earth, carried on the winds of divine will, past the stars and the flaming chariots of fire, to stand before the throne of the Almighty. There, amidst the ceaseless radiance, he had received the final words. Their petition had been denied. Not even their tears would sway the decree. But now the verdict had been spoken. A voice, more powerful than thunder and yet colder than the depths of the abyss, declared their doom. Your petition will not be granted. Your place is no longer in the heavens. Until eternity you shall be bound to the earth, shackled in darkness. Your sons, the Nephilim, will perish by the sword. You shall look upon them and grieve, but your cries will not reach me. Your prayers will be as dust upon the wind. A silence followed, vast, empty, unbroken. The watchers dared not speak. They dared not move. Above them, the heavens closed like a door that would never again be opened. And so began their eternal exile. Enoch had seen it all. He had walked.
So that's what that's what I was talking about right here. How you get those when you understand all this right here, how you get those megalithic cities, especially the ones that they talk about as if they were folklore, Lemuria and Atlantis and all that. It was because of what he just said. You got 200 angelic beings, highly intelligent beings that's exiled. They can't go back to heaven. So in between that time they was exiled, they weren't able to ascend. So I assume they lost their wings. They lost the ability to ascend. So they bound to this earth between that time and when they was bound in the earth. We don't know how long that was, but they the ones who was all responsible for all the stuff that we see in the past that's unexplainable. Okay.
Walked where no mortal had walked before. He had soared upon winds that carried him beyond the stars, beyond time itself. But what he had witnessed in his visions was too much for his mortal frame to bear. The crystal walls of heaven had shone with an unbearable radiance. Flames of fire had licked at the gates, barring entrance to any unworthy soul. And upon the great, unapproachable throne, the Almighty had spoken, his voice neither loud nor soft, either warm nor cold, but absolute. When Enoch awoke from his vision, the world around him felt different. The air was heavy with an unseen presence. The earth seemed to pulse beneath his feet. The knowledge given to him had set him apart. He was no longer merely Enoch, son of Jared. He was now the messenger of judgment. He had written their plea, the desperate request of the fallen ones, and carried it to the courts of the Most High.
So let's look at that right quick. I want to shine light on it. So we know how Moses went up on Mount Sinai, and the Lord was up there, and he went up there in the cloud, and he stayed for 40 days and 40 nights. Let me see. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but when he came back, he said that they had to put a cloak around him, over his face, over his head, because his radiance was changing. So imagine that Moses was just went to up on Mount Sinai. So imagine Enoch went into heaven, in the heavens of heavens. So imagine what his countenance was when he came back.
But the answer had been final. No appeal, no mercy. As he stood upon the high mountain overlooking the valley where the watchers still dwelled, he knew they were waiting. They had seen his descent. They would come to him, and he would have to tell them the truth. They would never see the heavens again, and he feared what that knowledge would do to them. Night fell upon the valley like a shroud, thick with shadows that slithered across the land. The watchers came in silence, their towering forms dimly illuminated by the cold light of the stars. Their eyes, once bright with celestial fire, now burned with something darker, desperation. Samiaza stood at the forefront, his presence commanding even in disgrace. His once golden hair had lost its luster, and his wings, those magnificent, terrible wings, hung lifeless behind him. Beside him, Azazel's face was unreadable, though his fingers twitched at his sides. He was the one who had taught men to forge weapons, to spill blood upon the earth. Of all the watchers, his punishment would be the worst. Enoch stepped forward, meeting their expectant gazes. The petition, Samiaza's voice was barely a whisper. Enoch closed his eyes for a moment, then spoke the words that would shatter them. It has been denied. A stillness followed. It was the stillness of a storm before it broke, of a sword before it fell. No, whispered one of the watchers. That cannot be. You lie, growled another. You would not return if it were so. But Enoch only shook his head. The judgment is final. You shall never ascend again. The reaction was immediate. The air crackled with suppressed power as the watchers reeled. Some collapsed to their knees, eyes lifted to the closed heavens in silent agony. Others turned away, their wings shuddering with barely restrained fury. And then there was Azazel. He stepped forward, his eyes burning with something that chilled Enoch to his core. If we cannot return, Azazel murmured, then let the earth be our kingdom. The night after he delivered the watcher's judgment, Enoch could not sleep. His mind was tormented by this. There was Azazel. He stepped forward, his eyes burning with something that chilled Enoch to his core. If we cannot return, Azazel murmured, then let the earth be our kingdom. The night after he delivered the watcher's judgment, Enoch could not sleep. His mind was tormented by the sorrow in their eyes, by the way some fell to their knees in grief while others turned their pain into rage. He had done as the Almighty commanded, yet his heart ached with a strange heaviness. He had walked between heaven and earth, seen the crystal halls of eternity, and stood before the great glory. He had spoken words not meant for mortal tongues and beheld things no human eyes should see. Yet here he was, back on the ground, surrounded by a world that no longer felt like his own. A wind howled through the mountains, and a presence stirred in the darkness. But even as he left the valley behind, he could feel their eyes on him, watching, waiting, and in the depths of his soul, he knew this was far from over. Days passed, but the unease did not fade. Enoch returned to his family, to his people, but the world no longer felt the same. When he spoke, men looked at him with something between awe and fear. They sensed a change in him. He had walked in places no man should walk, and the weight of heaven clung to his every word. Then came the first sign. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a shadow fell over Enoch's home. The wind carried a strange, hollow whisper, a voice not of this world. He stepped outside and saw them. 3 figures stood at the edge of the settlement, their forms cloaked in twilight. They did not approach, but Enoch knew who they were. The Watchers. They were breaking the decree. Heart pounding, he strode toward them. What are you doing here? The tallest of them, Penemu, inclined his head. We have come to speak. You cannot be here, Enoch said. Your place is with the others. And yet, Penemu murmured, here we stand. Enoch clenched his fists. If you seek to plead your case again, it is useless. I told you, we do not seek mercy. Penemu interrupted. We seek understanding. Enoch hesitated. Understanding? Penemu stepped closer. Tell me, Enoch, why do you think the Almighty has condemned us so completely? You broke the order of creation, Enoch said without hesitation. You abandoned your station. You took what was not meant for you. And yet, Penemu said softly, was it not for love? Enoch frowned. Penemu continued, did we not love the daughters of men? Did we not desire to share with them what we knew? Is love so great a sin? Enoch felt a chill creep into his spine. There was a dangerous logic in his words, a subtle twisting of truth. What you call love, Enoch said carefully, brought corruption upon the earth. You gave men knowledge that was not theirs to bear. You made them hunger for power. You turned them against one another. Penemu was silent for a long moment. Then he said, perhaps. Without another word, he turned and vanished into the darkness.
Okay. I want to know where they get a lot of this information, but yeah, anybody have any comments? In response?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. I did.
What you got?
When he says that last sentence before you pause it, sir, when he was mentioning that they and I forgot the correct words, but when he says when he had just said that they strive for power and things like that,
Right.
shit, that's what we caught up in doing every day. Even I feel like Pan-Africanism is a part of that too. You know, we gotta save ourselves and all that kind of stuff that I always hear. And even people looking at Ibrahim Toure the wrong way. thinking like that he's a savior and that kind of stuff. When it's that they don't see the hand of the Lord behind it. That's what I was trying to say.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Go a little more into it in this discussion I was bringing up. Yeah. So yeah, they are. But notice how he justified what they had done by talking about love, because they feel, well, no. You see that now. People want to use love in the wrong. They're using it the wrong way. Like he said, you didn't cause the whole world. You done brought sin into the whole world, but now you're saying that because of love. No, look what you've done. That ain't the love the Most High talking about. That's some more stuff going on with that. They ain't got nothing. That's not no love that the Most High talking about. That's something else. Because look at the results of it. Look at what it done to Most High's creation. All because you crossed the line. No, don't worry. Anybody else got anything on that?
Brother Leonard, would you say they was after lust, right? That's what
Yeah,
they did.
and he called it love.
Right.
He called it love. Like they do. You see them now. Like I said, this is coming from the Gentile side. They the ones got all these excuses. Always got some kind of reason to try to justify what they're doing. No, look what it's doing. Look at the effects of it. So it can't be good. No matter how you want to try to twist it. Yeah. Anybody else got any comments on that? Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna go on our topic. Like I said, I made before 3 or 4 different times. I've talked about this about Pastor Manning, but I want to play it tonight. I got a bunch of revelations. I guess it was, you can say, revelations on it. It came to me because of, I'm constantly on the internet, constantly backtracking on things, but I'm gonna play it and then we'll talk about it.
You ain't seen nothing. Obama's going to take away your citizenship. Obama's going to take away the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the Constitution. And going to send you and all other black people. Obama with Bill Gates and with Bill Clinton are going to send you and all other black people to either 2 places. You can stay here in the Western Hemisphere, and he's going to send you to Haiti, but he's going to round y'all up from South Central Los Angeles. He's going to round y'all up from the mega churches down in Dallas. He's going to round y'all up from the mega churches in Atlanta. He's going to round y'all up from New York, from Chicago, and he's going to send y'all back to Africa. That's right. Bill Gates wants y'all out of America. Mark Zuckerberg wants y'all out of America. George Soros wants y'all out of America.
Elon
And I'm going
Musk.
to tell you something, my friends. And not too many years from now, black people are going to be sent back to Africa. Something that many say should have been done shortly after the Civil War. Well, Obama is going to be the one that put the policy in place, destroy the effectiveness of the Constitution, take over all your resources and your property, the National Defense Authorization Act, that anybody can be arrested. What that means is this: all black people are going to be arrested and going to be sent back to the West Coast or to the Sahara in Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa, and there'll be nothing you can do about it. You'll have no constitution to call upon. No lawyer can defend you. There'll be no congressman, nor senator, nor judge that will hear your case. You run around here, Bishop Jackson, with Jesse and Al and all these cross-dressers, all of these transvestites, all of these race baiters and race mixers and hustlers. You run around here and you let the devil get on the throne of the White House. And now, in not too many years, you go read the National Resource Act. Obama owns all property. You read the National Defense Authorization Act. Anybody can be arrested, picked up at any time, and sent to any country, and that is not for white people. It's for black people. They're going to send you back to Africa, and it will solve America's economic problems. It'll solve America's crime problems. It will solve America's industrial problems. He's going to send you black people back to Africa. The National Defense Authorization Act, the destruction of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the Constitution. Obama is the son of Satan. I repeat, get down on your knees. Don't.
I've got a question. Is it, do we see them destroying the 13th and 14th Amendment right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah.
Don't need a press conference to rebuke Obama, but call black preachers and black churches down. You better hear me. You better hear me. You better hear what I have to say. You be within the next 5 years on the west coast of Africa, meeting with your ancestors that sold you more than 300 years ago. You're going back to Africa, black preacher, you black liars. You're going back to Africa, and Kitty Jenks is going to. You're back to Africa. What Obama's going to do? Already getting FEMA. He's already getting major transports, and he's already getting FEMA ready to deal with rounding up black people and sending you back to Africa. The son of Satan. Pray. Put on sackcloth and ashes. Pray.
Okay. Any comments on that? I know some of y'all ain't heard that before, but the people that's been around for a minute. Yeah. So any comments on that before we get into it?
Shalom. Shalom. This is when Obama was in office, or this is
Yeah, right. Yeah, just right when he came in office. Around 08 is when he came out. This guy right here. Pastor Manny. He said this right here. And it just, like I said, it went over a lot of people's head, but we're gonna see if we throw it off or not. Anybody got any comments on anything he said or what you think?
Oh, shalom, brother Leonard. You know, he's been banned from the internet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so my point, sir, saying that was people who might not be hip to, you know, what you've been teaching us and showing us for the last few years, that everything that he's saying is going into fruition.
Exactly. They threw it off the timeline, but he was dead on. You're right. So when he said that already getting the FEMA ready and getting all this here, no, it was Project 2025. That's what was being prepared. But anyway, yeah, so when we see, like I said, everything he's saying now, we see it happening now. Project 2025 is happening. Okay? Let's look at some of that a little bit for one of these videos based on what he just said about look at it. Here we go.
And confusion. That's been the reaction from many African governments and aid organizations after US President Donald Trump ordered a freeze and review of foreign aid. Despite a reversal on life-saving aid.
So he said they already getting the orders and all this stuff, putting it all together. Here you go, right here.
Particularly for HIV treatments. It remains unclear what will happen after the review. Questions remain.
Project 25 ain't just come out of the blue. It's been in process and it's been in place. Obama 8 years is all part of this.
About what else will be funded and who exactly will receive it. But here are some key facts you should know. The US is the world's largest single aid donor and a key provider of humanitarian assistance to Africa. So a freeze or reduction in aid could have devastating consequences for millions and put lives at risk. Now, last year, the United States provided nearly $7 billion in humanitarian aid to sub-Saharan Africa. That's according to USAID.
West Coast.
Now, this funding covered a wide range of support, including HIV prevention, malaria treatment, agricultural assistance, and initiatives to combat the effects of climate change. In 2024, UN agencies received the largest share of funding, totaling over $3 billion, followed closely by US government bodies and US affiliated NGOs. So it's a big deal. Despite the waiver on HIV treatment, health and humanitarian organizations worldwide remain uncertain about if and how they can resume their work. The specific programs covered by the exception remain unclear. Malawi, in particular, heavily relies on support from the United States government, especially for its health services. Take this clinic, for example, in Blantyre. It's fully funded by American aid. Patients rely on this clinic for essential HIV medications provided through the PEPFAR program. Currently appears to be secure. The budget covers everything from staff to facilities. However, there are concerns that a freeze on US foreign aid could force such clinics to close, threatening critical health sector jobs. And to stop the
Okay, so like I said before, we see all this stuff, and it's chaotic. That's what Pastor Manning was talking about. So he said he's going to round us all up in South Central from all these different places, right? So back people operate. They say it's, I told you about the halogen dialectic, right? How they bring about a massive problem. They got a problem. They got something they want to do, and so they have to come with a problem. And for you to start crying out about that problem that they create, and then they're gonna come and fix the problem, and to fix the problem with the fix, what they're gonna use to fix it is the problem they had. So, well, like I said before, you can't. What he's saying Obama, but you got to go back to look at Biden. It was Obama, but look at Biden and look at what happened with all the migrants that they brought over here. They created that problem. They had a problem they wanted to deal with, so they had to create another problem. So they created that immigrant problem. They flooded the Mexicans over here, got us all uneasy. Then what did we do? Up in all these different town hall meetings all over America, Chicago, New York, and all these places, we started talking about do something about the Mexicans, do something about the immigrants. We start crying out. Here go the problem. Here go the solution right here. What is it? They're attacking the blacks. Just what Manning said. They're gonna round us up. They already got ICE all the way all out there doing that. They started with them. We see it unfolding. That's how they work. And then another thing he said, what it's right in our face. Look at the revolt. All these Africans voting. Okay? So what you think they're gonna do? They're gonna Jesse Jackson, Boule Negroes. They're gonna get rid of them and they're gonna put African Americans over there in their places. It's right in our face. You're looking dead at it. We're looking at it right now as we speak. These African leaders revolting all over the place. You think America and the powers of white folks and the powers that be gonna let that just happen? No, they're gonna come. We can see now, we going back, but they're gonna have these folks there. Ezekiel 38. We're looking at Ezekiel 38. So you say, what do you mean, Ezekiel 38? In Ezekiel 38, it says that they're going to return, coming to take a spoil like they did before when they divided up the Most High land at the Berlin Conference. Divided the land up and got the spoils because it was a prophecy, and they done that. But now they want to go back there. They're going back there to take a spoil again. But it ain't gonna happen. But they got a plan. That's what we're looking at. We're gonna oust them. They're gonna oust those people. with Boule Negroes. Like I said, they already told us where everybody gonna be at in the next by 2030. We're gonna be 90-some% of the population gonna be in America, in Africa. With these, you think they're gonna have them Negroes that's revolting against them in charge? No, they're gonna send that Negroes they got that whooped into place over the last 400 years. We're looking right at everything he's seen. It's unfolding right in front of our face. Any comments, questions?
Oh, Brother Leonard, shalom. When I remember when I was reading about this, like it wasn't called Project 2025, but when I was looking into what Pastor Manning was saying back then, after I seen the video, then I was looking at Obama set up those FEMA little centers or whatever. A lot of those, you had said this the other day, and I thought about it. The Walmarts. So you were saying how they're not gonna put a Walmart in an area where there's not black people, right?
Right.
What I was seeing was those Walmarts are those holding places.
Right. Right.
And then that's the reason why they would be able to round us up in 8 hours nationwide, because we all live near Walmart. But I'll just think about that.
Yeah, and then too, you got to look at the fact that all those situations, when you go to like now, they actually had they was in the midst of a 9/11 simulated drill when 9/11 happened. So that's not a coincidence. And so, and then all those other events, or Putin when he attacked Ukraine, they was in the midst of supposedly having a exercise, and he come out the exercise and attack Ukraine. That's how these people work. So they got ICE already out there, already all over the place, picking up so-called immigrants. They already in place. So you go back to what you were saying about the Walmarts. They right there. When they go down, they got to have somewhere readily available right there on the spot to put them in, because they just gonna turn. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, you look at everything he said, and it's right now. It's in our face. It's being implemented. Like I said before, he attacking everything that he attacking. All those executive orders is blacks. When you walk it down, it's all coming back to the blacks and people of color, especially us. Because not only are we revolting too, we ain't going for the open no. And over there in Africa, like I said, we see all them leaders, they revolt. That's where the mass roundup gonna come in at. Okay. And then look what they just done with Palestine, what Trump's suggestion was, damn all those people that got killed and all the bombing that we witnessed on the news. But he said that the solution is a resort. Relocate the people and then build a big resort. Well, like I was just telling you, New Orleans and Jamaica and the Bahamas. They want us out of here. They're gonna turn them places into they're already money makers, but they don't want to deal with us. So Jamaica is on the list, Bahamas on the list, and New Orleans, they're on the list. That's what Make America. That's what he's talking about. They want to take all them places and make them luxury places for them, and get us out. They don't need us no more. We can do it all. We can build the place up and got it the way it's at. They don't need us. We got to find some kind of way to get. And then you had so many blacks up until recently. You still got some of them that's brain dead, but it was high numbers saying that this our land, they ain't going nowhere. But when they finish with this, give them about 6 more months. They're gonna be ready to go. because this is just going to intensify. This is what Pastor Man was talking about. We're in the midst of it. Okay. Any comments, questions about, yeah, so, you know, you can go back and listen to that. He had a lot of information in there. Somebody, go ahead.
Shalom. Excuse me, like AJ was saying about the Walmarts, also the warehouses back when COVID hit and they were dispersing monies out to businesses and stuff, and then tax write-offs could be done. There was a lot of warehouses put up and there's nothing in them, but it's empty, you know, so that could be also another place to house humans in those warehouses as well.
Well, right. So when you go back to some of those other some of those videos I had made back then, they closed a lot of Walmarts. They never reopened it, but so those Walmarts already been converted to those things. Like I was showing how that they had security guards in those buildings. To this day, they all them Walmarts they closed. Ain't nobody didn't know other businesses come in there. Those places still they sit there. And then even now with Target and all those other places, look at all those buildings that's closing. And all those warehouses and stuff that's closing all over America. Well, we sleeping on it. Yeah. So it's not a coincidence. Like I said, these people want to rule the world for 1,000 years. So you got to know they've been planning and plotting it. So they got a plan. You know, I'm starting to think about the situation over in West Africa. That's you know, what's up with that? Because I'm kind of suspect on certain people that's over there. That's in the way all this unfolding. Is it playing? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, anybody else got anything on that? Something to think about.
Shalom. Yeah, shalom. When would they do the census again? Or every how many years they do the census?
I'm not aware of that.
Shalom. I'm sorry, big bro. I thought it was every 10 years.
Okay.
So by me mentioning that, I'm thinking that's another way to make sure that they know who's who or where they are. If they do the census, if it's coming up again for the census, then they are going to be going to each home and, you know, passing out that paper for people to fill out so they can find out if they want to do the pull out of the homes and take people to those camps or wherever. They can do it with the census more unaware of people not thinking about it. That would be one way to make sure they have all the people that they're wanting to get.
Yeah. So you ever seen Enemy of the State with Will Smith?
Yes, sir.
They got this. They had it. They showed us on there. Like I said, they show you on those movies exactly what's going on. They had a AI system called Eagle Eye. They can find anybody anywhere at any time. It's surveillance. The whole surveillance system on the whole world. So with AI and social media and all that, they don't need no census. They around us digging around you. Look how they found that guy that killed the health CEO. They show us in the movies. They got systems like that. Especially now with the technology today, like look at those iPhones and all that. They got the technology that'll blow your mind. They just ain't a lot of it. They're not revealing it to us. And then drones. Okay. Yeah.
Shalom.
Anybody else got anything?
Okay. Do that as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they got. I mean, if you haven't seen it, check that in the middle of the state out, and then they go all the way. Like I was saying, they'll take a 15-minute or 10-minute segment and just break the thing down right in the middle of the movie for you. And tell you exactly what's going on with it. And so it ain't no, it's not a fairy tale. They're telling you exactly what they have the ability to do. Okay, and that's an old movie. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got anything else on that? Or anything else they want to talk about before we pick the scripture and close? Like I said, I'm gonna apologize for yesterday. They had our cable off down here, so that's the reason why I didn't come on. Okay, something going on with your mic, bro. I don't know what it is. Okay. We got a scripture before we break it down.
Yes, sir. In the Apocrypha First Enoch,
okay,
chapter 106.
Okay.
Starting at verse 1, First Enoch, chapter 106. And after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white as snow and red as blooming of a rose. And the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lightened up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. And he immediately arose in the hands of his midwife, opened his mouth, and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him and fled and came to his father Methuselah. And he said to him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike man, and resembling the sons of the God of heaven, and his nature is different, and he is not like us, and his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. Shalom. So you talked about this in different aspects a while back too, and I was just reading in First Enoch, and I saw this again. So I just want you to just go over this part again about this baby who came out, and because we saw this in the King James, but it was in a different way, but saying that he had come out and opened his mouth and conversed with the Lord of righteousness.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm gonna give you from what I've been dealing with on that, and I only talk about it when it comes up. So we know that to be cursed is to be what?
Away
what
from
mean?
the Lord of
Melanin
hosts,
taken away.
taken, the away from.
So they turn white. We know when Adam was formed on the ground, he was a man of color, right? He had melanin in him. That's where you get
Yes, sir.
human from. So when somebody goes against the creator, and the angels the same way, you go against the creator, he cursed them. We take the melanin out of them, turn them white, right?
Yes, sir.
So right here, this can't be layman. And then we know what leprosy is. Turning white means we see the albino animals. They become enemy to the earth, like the sun and all that. But Most High creation becomes the Most High's creation become their enemy. It can't exist in His creation because you had to be melanated in order to deal with the sun and all that. That's the reason He takes the melanin from you. So we see right here, chapter 106 says, and after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. and his body was white as snow. So we already know that ain't none of Lamech's son, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So white as snow, right? And red as a blooming rose. So that's the white folks. No melanin in them. Their skin red. And then we go back and look at when they describe David and when he described Adam. This is total opposite. So this is somebody being cursed. So it says, and the body was white like snow and red as a blooming rose, and hair on his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lit up the whole house like a sun, and the whole house was very bright. And thereupon he arose in the hands of the midwife and opened his mouth and conversed with the Lord of Spirit. Right. So do we see any Adam descendants do that?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna read one more. Keep verse 6. It says, and he said unto him, I have begotten a son. Look at this. And he said unto him, I have begotten a son, diverse from an unlike man, and he resembles the sons of God of heaven, and his nature is different. And he is not like us. Check it out. He's not like us. His eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I fear I fear that in the days of wonder may be wrought on the earth. On his days, I fear that in his days wonder may be wrought upon the earth. Okay, so we know that ain't none of that. The next son, right?
Yes, sir.
So now this what conclusion I came to. So let's go back to let me get it. Okay. I'm in chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2. Okay. Okay. I'm in chapter 4. It's when Cain and Abel was born. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain. Now here you go. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. See that? Not from, if she slept with Adam, why don't she say she got a man from Adam? She said, I got a man from the Lord. Now let's go back and read what you just read in 106. And after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son, and his body was white. This describing Cain, and his body was white as snow and red as a blooming rose, and the hair on his head was long locks, or were white as wool, and his eyes were beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lit up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. And thereupon he arose in the hands of the midwife, opened his mouth, and he conversed with the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him and fled and came to his mother. Now here you go. And he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from an unlike man, and he resembles the sons of God the sons of God of heaven. And his name is and his nature is different, and he is not like us. And his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. See? So that's why he said, I've gotten a man from the Lord, not from Adam. So to me looking at this is what Eve saw when Cain was born. Her and Adam. This is a description of Cain.
Yes, sir.
So that's just me. Okay. Because we know it ain't none of Noah. In no way it's Noah. Noah ain't albino. That's crazy. Okay, anybody got any comments on that?
Shalom. So that would have been that the one of the spirits had gone into Lamech's wife before he did.
No, that's they taking what happened with Cain and they putting it over there to make you think that Enoch was white,
Okay.
European. But it's actually the description of when Cain was born, when Eve saw him and how he looked. And then, like I said, she said she gotten a man from the Lord. Okay. And go back to the conversation and who it is that we know that she slept with. You
Yes, sir.
know what I'm saying? Okay. Anybody else got any comments on that or anything else they want to talk about before we go? Oh, okay. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Okay. So I see everybody. We got women's advanced Bible study tomorrow night. See everybody tomorrow at 7. Men can come in through StreamYard, through YouTube. Okay. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament in Tanak, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel. And there's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.